Wow, like what intro music, right? I mean, man. All right, let me try that again. Welcome to Modular World. You've been listening to the soothing sounds of Miss Heidi Chan, who performs as Bachelard. Yeah, I like that a little better. Yes, you were listening to Bachelard as the show opened, and we will have a proper segment on her with the new music segment coming up in the show. Oh man, this is a special show. It's the last show of 2020. I just, last night I sat on the Colorado Modular Synth Society Bandcamp listening party again, and Christoph Monoscene, who's in the chat here, he did like a year review thing of all the stuff that's happened, and I should have just called him and asked him all the points because they were so good. But if you'll indulge me and my memory from last night, I'm gonna try to think of them. So Travarsi, we believe, started this whole streaming culture, lifestyle, whatever, with the SoCal Synth Society Summit. It's a lot of S's there. And this was in April, right, Christoph? And, it was like a 3-day event, and we all we met a lot of people, and connections were made, and emails and follows started happening, and we got all these bright ideas. I had the last Modular on the Spot, San Diego, and I did that virtually, and then we went dark, and then I promptly started Modular World in May. And then NIMS, New York Modular Society. These guys, they did the Signals Fest, 2 days. It was 30 plus artists. Just amazing, festival style situation. I continued to do shows monthly and sometimes bi-monthly. Colorado came out with their event, with their festival. I'm just losing words here. Sorry. We did the Frequency Shift series. Travarsi and Space Racer dreamt that up. Amazing series, 5 weekends in a row, that we all hosted on our various platforms to make sure that women and non-binary friends of ours were getting a chance. Even though I begged them all the time to play this show, we've got to make sure that all voices are heard. So she launched that project. We had 5 shows. Travarsi also launched her shows, Faders Up and Gjear Dive Jam. There's been just everybody's coming up with ideas. San Francisco has 7 events, which they put on. Too many to name, and I'd get all the names fucked up. Pacific Northwest has a bunch of scenes. Alert Alders and Bart Wolf did Dutch Modular Fest online. Modular Houston's going off. It doesn't stop. It's been a great year, and it's we've all kind of figured out how to pivot and how to do this stuff. And I was just talking with people this week, which I want to talk about in a minute, about why didn't we do this before? I think there was such a stigma of I don't want to watch a stream on a Saturday. I want to see you live. And it's we've talked about this, but it's yes, live, obviously, but it was at the cost of doing nothing. So this is I don't know, it's a new era, and COVID schmovid, we're going to keep doing this because the relationships have been made. We've crossed the pond, created a monster. Okay. Speaking of this week, I just want to share this just really quick. I had two conversations this week and one on Monday coming up, and I've like uncovered this like hidden to me gem, 3 amazing experimental modular artist women in Canada. Now, what's going on here? So Sonia, maybe you've seen her stuff on Instagram. You should follow her. It's Sonia Music online. Sonia Music. Amazing experimental artist, Canada. Yesterday I spoke to Michelle Osis, and on Monday I'm speaking with Heidi Chan, Bachelard, who you heard open our show. And all 3 of these women are going to be on the show in the new year, and my God, what a bunch of amazing talent coming out of Canada right now. All right, sorry. So that's all I've got for the year in review. I do want to welcome 2 new patrons, Ice Locus and Pat D. I see Ice Locus in the chat. Thank you for supporting this show. As a quick reminder, becoming a patron of Modular World gets you downloads of all the music performances from the show. Amazing. Okay. Thank you for joining the team and supporting this show. Every little bit helps. Okay. There's just so much today. Okay, we're just going to start getting through it. Okay. We're going to start off with Frederic Ribon, who performs as SICVK, in case you were wondering how to say that. He's from France. This is a 100% Eurorack project created at the end of 2019. During the explosion of techno and electro music that Fred began to create electronic music in the beginning of the early 90s. I could have rewritten that sentence a little better. His early inspiration was from the first cartoons imported from Japan and broadcast on French television, which provoked a new taste for musical experimentation. He's always looking for new sounds. As I mentioned, he discovered Eurorack in 2019. He decided to sell all the synthesizers, drum machines, and separate pieces to embark on this new fascinating and expensive project. No comment on that. All right. From France, this is SICVK. I love that last exhale on the vape. It's so cool. What a great way to start the show. SICVK from France. Frederick will not be joining us on the chat. It can't always happen. I understand. Everybody else who's performing today will be joining us in the live chat. So have your questions ready for when they're on. Man, thanks for coming. I see a lot of people who have joined the show since we started. I'll say hello and welcome to Modular World. My name is John O. Wells. It's been a great year. You missed our little year in review catch up. This show started in early May, and I didn't know if this would work or take off or be anything. Hoped it would. Just a dude in a bedroom studio streaming. You never know. And we've definitely created a monster here. January is booked. February is almost booked. Just lots of interest and people want to be on this show, and it's just amazing. Thanks for being here. All right. So next up, I have a really special treat. Okay. So I know that you all saw IIITAIII last week on the show. And look, it's not going to become the IIITAIII show. I promise. I mean, I don't think any of us would mind, but it's not. But if you recall his performance last show, it was 3 songs, and he ended with this new track called Everything Changed. And this week he released it as a single on Bandcamp. And he also made this music video. So here's a little bit more IITAIII for you. I just couldn't resist, and he said I could play this. All right, IITAIII. There's my man. My man. If you're interested in purchasing that track, there's a link underneath to IITAIII's Bandcamp. Man, you're just like raising the bar. Our resident modular rock star. Okay. Oh, man. What a great track. It's just been on loop here like all week. It's just amazing. All right. We're going to move along here. Next up is Athanasios Fotiadis, who performs as Thanos, and if that's like the most beautiful name I've ever heard in my life. All right, Thanos is a classical pianist, a multi-instrumentalist, and an electronic music composer based in the Netherlands. He's performed many concerts playing work of contemporary classical composers and has made his own music as a bass player guitar player, drummer, with various post-punk and noise rock bands for 20 years. As a composer, he was searching for his own language till he found the modular synthesizer. And there he found all the expression tools that he was looking for in order to start truly experimenting, trying to find a balance in extremes from heavy noise to abstract ambient music. His goal is to create immersive and playful environments by sculpting silence. Ladies and gentlemen, Thanos.
What?
Lovely, man. Just lovely. Are you there, brother?
Yes, I'm here. Hi. Hello.
Absolutely lovely. Man,
Thank you. Thank you.
what a journey. God. I mean, where you started, where you ended up, just unbelievable, really.
Yeah, it was the first patch that I've done that it had everything in it. So I didn't have to move the cables a lot.
Mm-hmm. Do you usually do some like live patching?
Yeah, I usually try to do that. But I figured out it needs a lot of experience and I'm hoping to get there one day.
I love the first part where you were just so interactive with it and just really jacking it. I wouldn't have guessed tides. That was fun.
I, yeah, it was an accident. Like we all know what's happening with the modular
Yeah,
sometimes with
yeah,
accidents. If you just patch a cable into the voltage per octave of the tides, and you just insert it in any audio rate signal from any other module, it just picks up a frequency and it starts screaming at that frequency.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah,
And who guessed it? Was it Mardaga?
yeah. I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So contact me, please,
For a
for
free
that
module, right?
a free download code of the new album.
Oh, I thought it was a free module. Damn it.
I don't have so much money to give people modules for free.
Right. So, talk to us about where you go through to create a patch like this. Like, how do you see it?
Yeah, you usually start with just experimenting. So it all started with tides, and when you figure it out, you start fine tuning it because you know the idea is good, but it doesn't sound perfect yet. So it needs some fine tuning, and find all the tricks you can do with it. So it's trying all
Yeah.
kinds of possible connections, and then you grow out from there. Because, for example, the beginning is very noisy, I would say. It's very interactive also. So I wanted something also with a lot of high frequencies. So then I was looking for something with more low frequencies and rhythm, just to give a little bit structure in the middle part of the patch.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the end, I wanted some melody. I wanted something sweet. I wanted something
Mm-hmm.
after all these noises and dark sounds.
Hmm. What are you working on right now? What's going on?
I'm actually very excited. I'm started working with a very small surge system from
Mm.
random source, and I'm working on feedback patching, which is incredible for me. It opened completely a new world for me.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm still in the beginning, so I need a lot of time to explore that and new possibilities with that.
And you just released something on Bandcamp.
Yes, that's an album with all the patches that I've done on my YouTube channel that I shared with people. And I took these patches and I started to create full tracks with them.
Nice.
So, and I picked up the best ones and I made an album which is like a compilation. So it's not it doesn't have a theme. So I just called it Selected Modular Works.
Mm-hmm. That is linked below in the description. If you want to support Thanos, underneath, all the artists actually playing today, links to their band camps. Man, I love what you do. I'm just so glad to have you on the show, man.
It was an honor.
Yeah,
It was
really nice.
really exciting to be really.
I mean, there's just so much talent in the Netherlands. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's a beautiful scene here, and yeah, before COVID, we were just hanging out in different cities, which are not very far from each other.
Yeah,
So it was really nice and friendly, and it was getting bigger and bigger.
yeah.
And now we're online. Yeah.
It's great to see the Netherlands in the chat. Most of you have played. I mean, all of you guys have played. Zendapausa,
Hmm.
Mandy, and I don't. Yeah, I didn't see Allert here, but the rest of you have played. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Alert told me he's trying to make it. He's gonna try to make it. He was working too late or something like that.
Alert's promised me a patch too. I talked to him 10 days ago, and I was like, bro, when are you going to be on the show?
Yeah.
So apply the pressure if you can, please.
I will. I will definitely will.
We got to
Yeah.
have him on the show. Yeah.
Yes, yes, because he's the teacher. I mean, I learned about Modular because of his evenings that he was organizing here in my city.
Yeah.
So,
Great
yeah.
stuff. Also, the Netherlands, we have Thomas from XOR, the maker of our amazing nerd sect that most of us own. Dude, I would love to have him come out and play too. Like a lot of the manufacturers don't make music, or they do, but they don't play out.
Yeah.
We got to get Thomas here too. Come on. All right, man. Thank you so much. We'll be in touch.
Yes, thank you for inviting me.
All right.
Let's have a nice evening from now on.
Thanos from the Netherlands, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Awesome. Yeah. Wow. Okay. So, a couple weeks ago, I added the new music segment, and man, we got a good one. All right, let's do this. All right, it's new music time. You heard her on the show intro. Ms. Heidi Chan performs as Bachelard. I'm going to play, I played the first 2 tracks on the album. We're going to go to the 3rd and 4th. I'm going to turn this down a little bit and try to get the levels right as I'm talking here. All right, so you guys can let me know if it's too loud or if you can hear me. All right, here we go. I'm going to go a little lower. Okay. Sorry. Heidi Chan was born and raised in Toronto. She played Japanese taiko drums professionally for many years with Toronto-based group Nagata Shaku. She currently plays Japanese and Chinese bamboo flutes in a Japanese folk ensemble called Ten Ten. She was a film sound editor and Foley artist for 2 years in Hong Kong. She lived there from 2007 to 2012. Sound design and live music for theater, dance, film. She's currently finishing a PhD in ethnomusicology. Her topic is the impact of digital sampling and early digital synthesizers on world music, i.e., how the ethnic sounds in the emulator, the DX7, etc., helped popularize world music through the 80s and 90s. She's working as a graduate researcher at Ryerson University on modular related research. She got into modular 5 years ago while working at a music store. She's a modular specialist at the Moog Audio Store in Toronto. She ran monthly modular workshops there. And her most recent project, I just love this. So she did this three module challenge, and it's 15 tracks, all different artists, and it's a fundraiser for the Black Women in Motion, which is a Toronto-based youth-led organization. We stand with giants, my brothers and sisters. Amazing. This is Heidi Chan, who performs as Bachelard. Amazing. Thank you. All right. I think that went okay. I think that, I don't know. If I had a producer doing the fades, it'd probably be a little smoother. Anyway, I'm meeting with Heidi on Monday, and she will play on this show in the future, and she's one of the 3 amazing experimental artist women living in Canada who I'm really excited about having on this show. So thank you, Bachelard. We love you. Amazing. All right. Next up is Death Parade March from the United States. Death Parade March is a St. Louis-based DIY modular synthesist, DJ, and EDM producer. He has 3 lifelong passions. Now I'm not going to count them on my fingers. Putting things together, storytelling, and music. His modular synth is the evolution and unification of all 3. Building Lego sets and models led to modular DIY kits. Storytelling led to composing narrative soundscapes. And making mixtapes for friends led to a diverse, genre-transcending style that reflects his mood and the story he's telling. Together, Death Parade March and his modular synth, nicknamed the Marshall, led the listener through tales of ambient dread, lead the listener through tales of ambient dread, melodic serenity, and swaggering beats. Man, that was a terrible read. I apologize. Death Parade March. Death Parade March. Man, oh man, nice job. Are you with us, brother?
Yep, I'm here.
All right, how you doing?
I'm good.
So, people were loving the DIY aesthetic of your case.
Mm-hmm.
I love how that's like part of your whole story. That's like you just love building stuff, and it's like music, building stuff, natural progression, modular. Yeah. Tell us about that.
Let's see. So last year, I used to do a ton of Warhammer stuff. You see one of my models on my case. And I can't play much in this area. The community isn't great, and then with my, I have 3 kids, so it's hard to get out and play. And then this year, no one goes out and plays because no one goes out. So, I think it started last year. I started writing my own music, and I was looking up just videos about like production and stuff like that, and I found Andrew Huang's videos, and through his videos, eventually I found Modular Synth, and was just like, what is that? And so then those videos led me to Look Mum No Computers videos, where everything was DIY.
Right.
And so after that, I started trying to DIY everything, and I had a bunch of like failed experiments of, just circuits and stuff, because I hadn't ever really soldered anything before. And so I came to the conclusion last fall that, I love making all of these things, and I know I want to get into this. I think I'm going to start building kits, because that way I know they work. And so for Christmas, I asked for some kits, and built them. And then tax return season came around, and the government gave me some money, and I bought some more.
Thank you, government, for money. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
and then the stimulus check came out, and they gave me more money, and so I bought more.
I don't have any choice but to buy modular. Thank you.
Yeah. So
sorry.
No, go ahead.
Somebody asked you how much of your case was DIY. I saw a PAMS and a Bitbox Micro in there, but how much is the rest of it built?
Let's see. There's more in here now, but
like most of it?
Yeah, there were 20. Let's see. I think there were 31 modules when I recorded that. And let me pull up a calculator.
Guy's got like how many modules he used like when he made that. That's like,
so 80% of the modules in that were DIY.
That's some quick math there, man.
Yep.
Unbelievable. I've built 2 and I did not love it. And it's
I was
not
building
for everybody.
stuff while I was watching it earlier.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So this performance was called Train Ride.
Yep.
Tell us about how you dreamt up this idea and how you built it out.
So after you asked me to be on the show, I was like, well, I need to do something cool. And so I had just gotten the Schwab, the new Schwab modular triple cap chaos module. And I patched it into a low pass gate and put it through some reverb, and it sounded like a steam engine. And so, and I guess I'd probably just, because I was just using it as percussion or something. And once I started getting it going with like a beat, I was like, oh wow, this sounds like a steam engine. Okay. And so then that was just kind of the like the basis of the song was, oh well, it'll be a train ride. And so since I like to tell stories with my music, I just kind of envisioned just a train ride through the countryside, just looking out the window and seeing hills and stuff go by.
What was the God, I love that out of phase thing that would like come back into rhythm and then fade out of rhythm and come back into rhythm. It was like one halfway through, or maybe like 1/3. It was like a
It wasn't the
pinging.
Game Boy, was it?
It wasn't the rings part either. It was there was like an out of rhythm thing that would come back and then fade out. It was beautiful. Like you couldn't find the one, and then you'd find it again. And
It was
people were
probably the Game
commenting on
Boy.
it. Now, what is the Game Boy doing? Thomas from XOR was talking in that part too. So cool.
Yeah, so the Game Boy, it has a, if you're familiar with the interface for like the NerdSeek, the tracker on LSDJ, which is what I use on the Game Boy, is almost identical.
Yeah.
It just has 4 tracks instead of 8. And so I just had a little sequence going to the Game Boy, and so it uses the Game Boy sound chip as the sound source instead of CV out to go to whatever. And for whatever reason, I don't know why, I think it's probably because I've only been soldering stuff for a year now, so I'm getting a lot better at it, but I was not great at it towards the beginning of the year. And I think my old Arduino boy, which is what you use for MIDI sync, for LSDJ and other things, I think it just didn't work right. Or it could be my Game Boy, because I think it would drift in and out of sync for, I don't know why. And when my wife listened to it, she was just, I was like kind of beating myself up about it, how it drifted in and out of sync, because I really like grid, like beats and stuff.
I see. This wasn't intentional.
It wasn't.
See, that makes it even cooler. That makes it even cooler. Come on.
I just like gave up my secret.
Yeah, I meant to do that. Yeah, I meant to do that. Yeah.
So when my wife listened to it, she was like, "Oh, that the drifting in and out of sync was really cool." And I was like, well, I didn't really. I was upset about it. And she was like, "No, it sounds cool." And I was like,
"Oh, I'm sorry I brought it up." No, actually, I'm happy I brought it up, because you know what? It's cool that it's like, the machine you're working on has some bugs. I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Frankly.
So. And I think it's because the Game Boy that was in the video is actually my second one. My first one died like a week or 2 before I made the video. It just stopped reading cartridges. So here comes my cat.
I love that you're using a sequencer coming from that. That's just so cool, man. Flotron asks where you buy your kits.
Let's see. If it's a SynthroTech one, I buy it from SynthroTech. SynthroTech has a few kind of like sub brands from other people.
Yeah.
So if it's from SynthroTech, I have SynthroTech modules. I have Rat King modular modules from them, and then I have an MST module from them. And then I buy stuff from SynthCube. And I buy stuff from Thonk.
Have you ordered from Modular Addict?
I do. I have a few things from Modular Addict.
I like those guys.
I buy Schwab stuff from Schwab directly. Because when we got the stimulus check, I wanted to support local businesses, and so I mean. I'm kind of about as far away from Chicago as you can get in Illinois, but they're in the same state. So and there's no like modular manufacturers in St. Louis. Mm-hmm. So I just picked a few companies in St. Louis to support, and so I bought a lot of Momo Modular. All of my Mutable Instruments clones that I have are all Momo Modular ones. Mm-hmm. That's based out of Chicago. Mm-hmm. And then I have like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Schwab Modular modules. Mm-hmm. I got all those this year to like help support local businesses.
Mm-hmm. What's next for you?
Well, I just one of the shortcomings that I've found when I've been playing and composing stuff is I didn't have a proper synthesizer. Like, this does amazing things, but like I have to tune it, and like if you don't have, like, my VCO is an AS3340 based VCO, and so like it stays in tune if you keep it in tune, but then you can't use it for anything else. And so I wanted a proper synthesizer. So I just bought the Mother 32, which just like it sounds incredible, and just the stuff it brings, I can just make much more kind of melodic sequences that I don't have to work it to make them sound like in tune. So I've kind of like, I released the Game Changer, my Game Changer EP, which was like a combination of, I love dubstep, so it was like my dubstep singles that I made recently over the summer. All of them include stuff made with the Marshall, but I don't have stuff that you can really make dubstep growls easily in the Marshall's environment, so I use Ableton for that. And so those are kind of like the combination between the Marshall and using, the software that it's like I paid for it. I'm not going to be an elitist and be like, oh, I only use hardware.
No.
So, yeah. So,
I love that you have a name for your modular, like the Marshall. Like,
yeah, I got that.
I don't know what I would. Yeah, I don't know how I could name mine really.
That one came from the other person who, so it's like my three main influences for when I got into modular was Andrew Huang, Look Mum No Computer, who his modular system's named Cosmo.
Okay. See, I didn't know that.
Yep. And then in the like second iteration of it, the one that he took on tour last year had an animatronic face on it. That it had like CV inputs that would make its eyes like go all over the place. See, and it had a mouth that would chatter. What is this guy doing? He's crazy.
Yeah, he is crazy.
And then the other guy is he's a DM, like a dungeon master for Dungeons and Dragons, but he also has a huge modular synth. And he when he was he made a video about his modular synth because I guess people asked him, and he was like, yeah, so I named mine the Time Rider because when I went to Modular Grid, it asked me for a nickname, and I was like, oh, of course, I need to name it the Time Rider. And so I just went into it with having watched Look Mum No Computer with Cosmo, right. And I'm blanking on his name, Matt somebody. I was like, oh, so your synthesizer needs a name, obviously. And so the Marshall was just an easy pick because that's what is a thing that leads a parade. It's the guy who leads the parade, and I'm the Death Parade. So
that makes perfect sense.
Yep.
He's the Marshall. Man, thanks so much for bringing your artistry. I just, I'm happy for you, and I love what you're building, and it's just great.
I was happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, Death Parade March. Well done, sir. Well done.
Thank you.
What fun, man. All right. Thanks, man. All right. So, my friends, you hoped it wouldn't happen, but it's going to happen. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Gerald's Gjear.
Ladies and gentlemen, Gerald Fjord.
Hey Jono, hey Modular Worlds. Welcome to another edition of Gerald's Gjear. Sorry I can't be there today. I am taking my first ski trip of the year, so I'll be on the slopes right now. Probably listening, might even be in the chats, but wanted to make sure that I got something out there. So today we're going to be talking about taking a really simple drum beat and turning it into something different with glitches and texture and how to accomplish that. So there's a lot that you can do to make boring drums unboring, to make them interesting. In this case, using the Qubit Data Bender and the Error Instruments Liquid Glitcher and Strymon Magneto. All of these are going to be controlled by the Acid Rain Maestro for CV control, and gonna use those things to, so the Liquid Glitcher, again, it's two different oscillators. There's a main oscillator and sub oscillator, and there's also a drum hit in there that you can use too. And layering that on top of it to add some glitchy and oscillating sounds that are still percussive. They're still percussive because I'm using a VCA in order to get that. Giving it a bender, we're just running the entire drum kit through that and using different modulation through the Acid Rain Maestro and with a chain sequence going on to have step sequencing, and then both of them running through the Strymon Magneto, which kind of just, I have the crinkle turned up and the tape age turned up, giving it a kind of a warble lo-fi effect with some delays and a little bit of reverb as well, just to make it interesting. And all of that, everything here is controlled by the Acid Rain Maestro. It's a really cool step modulation that allows you not only to choose 6 different outputs, each one you can set a different wave shape. So you can have it ramp up, ramp down, down up triangle, up down triangle, a random, a low, and a high. The low is really cool because especially if you use it in bipolar mode, you can pull that all the way down, or really just however you have it set, but you can it almost acts like a rest, so it can be really interesting, especially with percussion, but really with anything. And the favorite feature about this is the actual chain feature, where you can quickly go in and just hit chain and hit ramp up, low, high, random, triangle down, all of these different ways to do it, and you can do it so quickly, and you can add that chain pattern to any of the 6. All of the drums are just running through grid as the sequencer, so the primary 3, the kick drum, the snare, and the hi-hat are all the main outputs on the grid, and just turning those up and down to add some variation to what's happening. So check it out. I hope you enjoy. And there you have it. So did a little bit of taking a boring drum pattern and making it a little bit more interesting with glitches and texture, and hope that was helpful for you guys. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'm also going to have on YouTube a kind of expansion of this series, so you can go to my YouTube and there'll probably be some more examples and things like that as we move along. So this one will be out shortly after. I'm going to try to have them out quickly after Modular World is over, but maybe a day, maybe 2 days if I want to add some more content, that especially for these kind of pre-recorded ones that we're doing right here. Wait, I'm sorry, hold on. I'm getting something from the Modular World headquarters. What's that? Yes, Jono, I can hear you. No, Jono. Jono. I don't want to... Fine. So if you want to hear some more real-world examples of this, you can check out my latest album, Receiver. It's out now. It's out on Bandcamp, all the streaming sites. Go ahead and go check it out. You can hear some more examples of that, and check out my new album. I didn't want to do that. I don't care. Jono, I know we're going for top content. Top 100 content. I get it. All right. Hey, you're the boss. Yeah, yes, sir. You're the boss. Ridiculous, man. So, yeah. That's that, I guess. Thanks for checking it out, and thank you, Jono. Love you, Horseface. Hashtag no more tears.
Why do I do this? What's the, I don't know. Ladies and gentlemen, the chairman of the Bachelard, Old Black Eyes, Gerald Fjord. Love you, Mr. President. You know, he's a good guy. What are you going to do? You know, we're just going to move on. All right. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, is Stoke. Okay, Stoke is a British modular artist living and working in New York City. He's been playing around with modular systems for over a decade, and in recent years he set out trying to make a rig from almost entirely Schweiman modules. He released his debut album in November of this year, In the Name of Schweiman. It's an album of live performances, output as 8 tracks, which were then mixed and mastered in Pro Tools and released across all streaming platforms, including Bandcamp, linked below. He says, I tried so hard for so long to make a purist Schweiman rig, and now the album may have put an exclamation point in that journey. Maybe it's set me free from purism. So interesting. We can ask him about that in a moment. Tonight's performance is a composition designed to complement the album and from a much smaller system focused down to its musical essentials. He's done away with a mixer and doesn't rely on the mixer anymore as a way of composing. He just uses modules to do whatever it is they do musically, and he tries to use the sequencer to create interesting loops to play around with. He says his next step is to remove the sequencer, which I personally love doing. Ladies and gentlemen, Stoke. unbelievable, right? What do you say, man? It's just like, I don't know what to say. The Star Spangled Banner outro, like, come on. So good. Are you with us, brother? Oh, hang on. Let me unmute you. There you are. All right. Can you hear me? There he is.
Hey.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So if I sold my entire modular system, how many Schwayman modules could I buy?
None. You can't get them.
Come on.
I mean, you can't. I don't know. They're only a bit. They're about twice as expensive as other modules, I guess.
So a little less than Buchla then.
Definitely less than
Right.
Buchla, but they're so rare you can't get them.
Yeah.
So it took 10 years to build the system, and every time I saw a module, I would buy it, then work out what the hell to do with it.
I mean, every part of that set was just so unique and beautiful. This is like masterclass stuff, man.
Thank you very much.
Just unbelievable. So you are joining us from the UK right now, even though you're a New York resident. What are you doing out there? What are you doing across the pond?
I'm seeing family, but I had to come in quarantine.
Right.
So I'm actually quarantining.
And you just got in there yesterday.
Yeah. And
Ah.
I had to set up the sort of crappy internet and everything.
And you're joining us here for this, man. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
So you've got this on Bandcamp. People are talking about they just bought your records, super good. What's on the horizon? What are you working on?
What I'm doing? I've unpatched my big rig that I made for the album, and I made that little rig for this show, and then I'm just wondering what to do next. I mean, I like that sound. I probably need to expand it somehow. But what I don't want to do, I mean, everybody's different, so I'm not sort of criticizing anybody else or anything, but personally, I don't like to overface myself with too many modules. So I'm going to try and build out from what you see there.
Mm-hmm. When you, I don't know Schwayman modules like at all, but I'm assuming that the approach is totally different, like working with Buchla stuff. It's a totally different paradigm. Am I right?
Yeah, Buchla and Surge have separate CVs and audio paths. So Schwayman is just like your regular Eurorack system.
Oh, I see.
Except it's sort of elitist in the fact that you can't get the modules, and they're overpriced. They tend to sell secondhand for more than you retail. So
right. So when you
difficult to build a system with them.
So when you approach building something like this and all these transitions and all these sections, I saw your 101 there.
Yeah.
How do you work that in with all these modules and make something like this work?
Well, I've always used sequencers, and I used the what's it called? What's the little square one with the funny little buttons called? I used that for ages.
Oh, that one, the square one with the buttons, right?
Yeah, Fluxus One. I used that for a long time.
Oh, Fluxus, got it. Yep.
Yeah. And then I tried the Eloquencer, and it was sort of more of like looking at a grid. And as soon as I found the 101, basically the way you sequence with the 101 is you go, I'll have a gate and it'll last this long. And then next I'll have whatever I want. And then next I'll have, and you can sort of go up to 100 steps. And to me, as soon as I found that way of sequencing, I just loved it. And so I think all the albums done on the 101. All that set was done on the 101. I just like that way of just, sort of imagining or whatever, creating a loop, and then what you can put along with it.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of.
I was a Fluxus guy for 2 years, and then I finally just recently went to NerdSec.
Yeah, everybody loves the NerdSec. The NerdSec reminds me of years ago on the Amiga computer.
Mm-hmm.
The what was that thing called? The
There was some kind of a
Octamed.
tracker on that.
And it was eight. Well, it started as 4 tracks,
Mm-hmm.
and so I'm reluctant to go back to that way of sequencing now. I found this sort of 101 way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it was a huge change for me to get into it because I didn't grow up with trackers and I don't have any love for that. And real pattern-based tracker just was not my workflow. But I watched enough videos that, I'm sorry, Thomas, this is going to sound like an ad, but it's not. I watched enough videos that I became convinced that this thing was a monster. But it's so interesting that sequencers are just so different for everybody, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I think that a year ago even, I would have looked at the NerdSect and just been like terrified.
Yeah.
And now it just makes sense for me, you know?
Yeah, I think they play into as far as I'm concerned, sequences play less into my, strengths, but more into my weaknesses, if you see what I mean.
Me too.
So
I would agree.
different
Yep.
sequences, I feel claustrophobic if they're too grid oriented or
Mhm.
something like that. So everybody will have their own experience. So whereas
Mhm.
the beauty of the 101 in the way that it works is you can go, you know what, I just want to put a big gap there, and you just put it in, and then it's just easy to put things in and out and have tracks as long or as short as you want, and therefore you can put them out of phase or whatever it is you want to do.
Mhm. I think that the most fun I have in modular is without a sequencer.
Yeah.
And then I find ways that I need that kind of a structure, and I bring it in, but lots of times I have nothing plugged into any sequencer.
Yeah.
And I'm just like totally off the edge, you know.
Yeah.
There's a question in the chat from Kerblamsky, and he asks, how did you choose modules for this current rig, and was there anything you're missing you wish you could have fit into it?
There isn't anything missing. How did I choose modules? I bought the box because I thought it's really cool. It's kind of like a workman box, Trogotronic thing. I just thought this box is amazing. You're going to have to make a rig just for this. But I had this big rig for my album, so I literally cherry picked.
Mm-hmm.
And then somebody was asking, what's that big white module? That's the SM1. And I just saw it on Big City Music or Analog Haven or whatever. One of those two. Sorry, forgot that one. And I bought it. I had some money. I bought it. And I was like, right, I'm putting that there. And then the rest of the album rig around it. And then the big problem was mixer and reverb. So I knew how to get rid of the mixer. And traditionally I would do mutes and faders up and down and all this sort of thing.
Yeah.
And sort of ramp up, delay and reverb. But I went for that Wong or Wrong or whatever it's called.
Yeah, how do you say that? It's like Warung or something.
If kid says wrong, but whatever. Which is nice because it puts each input across a spectrum.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
Yeah, but you can't control the volumes of anything. So then I'd already learned how to use each module to sort of bring it in or bring it out. So if I need to cut everything out, I have to sort of dash around really quick. So you need muscle memory there.
Right.
And then just that tiny little reverb, which I really like. I can't remember what it is now. And I literally just used a stacker cable and put two elements into basically a mono in, and it gives you a stereo out.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the choosing. And then a kick thing, which is just a filter with an envelope. Well, 2 envelopes actually, which gives you that sort of variation.
Mm-hmm.
And then a BLD. I've always used that for the bass, but with the noise and everything, and the pulse width modulation, it makes a really nice sort of lead instrument. So that was one of the lead instruments,
Mm-hmm.
and things like that from one of the other modules.
Wow. So how much of your Schwayman collection, I guess, for lack of a better word, was in this case?
About a third, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe half or a third.
So maybe I remortgage my house.
Yeah.
And I just start looking.
Yeah, it's funny that because lots of people have said the word mortgage or remortgage, and it's like, I'm sure you've got a lot of modules that you could sell and buy Schweiman modules if Schweiman modules were available. The problem is that dealers get hold of them. So like a module, like a twin oscillator is what does it retail, like $700 or $800, which is expensive, but not that bad when you compare it to other real complex oscillators.
Right.
A dealer will get it and he'll put it on reverb.com for $1,500. So I didn't pay any of those dealer prices. I just, I see it, have alerts, and something will come up on Craigslist in, San Francisco or something, and you just call the guy and buy it.
Right.
It's rare.
When did they stop being made?
Stop? They're still being made.
Oh.
But the guy, Vova Schweiman, he will not let anything go out of his production house or whatever you call it without him personally calibrating it and testing it.
And
so
you can't buy.
So the bandwidth of production is tiny.
So you can't buy directly from him?
You can, but there's never any modules. So you get on a list.
I see.
I hope his wife runs the business, Maho Schweiman, and I hope she's not watching.
Huh. I just assumed in my ignorance that they weren't being made anymore and that it was just only the used ones,
No, they make them, and you're on a list, and you have to put your name down for it, and he decides, what he wants to. He'll be right. I'm going to make, 300 compressors, and so all the Schweiman fans go, "Oh, do I need a compressor?"
Mm-hmm.
But it is a Schweiman module, and it would fill that little hole in the bottom.
It sounds a little bit like orthogonal, the way that like he'll make a bunch of modules and then stop, and then they all go crazy on reverb, and then
Yeah, I really see a similarity there. That's why I like matching the orthogonal. I used to have the 301 in there as in a bigger system, and I used to use that as a summing mixer and effects box and sampler, of course. And I like, they're sort of complementary, aren't they?
I had to dance with the 301 and I had to let it go just because I don't like so much stuff happening like under the hood. I need to really feel like I'm building patches and not like having so much magic happening that I can't see.
Yeah, that's exactly the problem with it. Like the Octatrack or whatever from Electron, is so much you can do, but you're sort of interfacing something that's big, and it just
I need to feel it. Yeah. Plus, the other reality is that I'm just definitely not smart enough for the 301. So there's that.
Well, I mean, if you ever go back to it,
let's be honest here.
There's a lot of really clever people just publish their patches and you can download them.
Man, those clever people, and I could name 5 of them, and Zendepaus is right here. These clever people were so generous and kind with their time and helping me try to learn it and work with it. And I recall sessions where I was just like, that is so awesome, amazing. I think I understand another 1% of it. That's great. But then when I'd go back to working, I was like, am I going to build that? Do I want that? Do I want a 19 VCA thing triggered by a bunch of noise sources and envelopes when I just want to like make it myself here? Definitely amazing.
Well, I did something similar. So I was able to build a drum kit with envelopes and noise and sine waves and all this stuff. And I thought that's really cool. But in the end, I like to put my hands on it and twiddle around with it and sort of blend one sound with another, and it's just not really cut out for that.
Right. No. Yeah, I'm definitely not a hater. People use it in ways that just makes me dead jealous, but it's just not for me.
Yeah, I totally wouldn't sell mine, but I don't know what to do with it.
You should sell it and buy one half of a Schweiman module.
I don't think I'm buying any more Schweiman modules.
Are you good? Are you done?
I'm done. I'm done with streaming modules. I love them, and I have a brilliant, collection that I can make a rig with anytime and make a small rig. I love the sound of that small rig, although it's kind of a light work intensive to.
It's unbelievable though. It just sounds so good.
The sound is good. The sound is really, really good. That's the thing that gets me.
So good. All right. I could talk with you for hours. We did this last time we talked. All right, man. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for having me.
What a pleasure. All right. Yes. We'll stay in touch. Enjoy your holidays. And sorry about your having to quarantine there.
No, it's a great place. So, and I've got tonight's rest of the show to enjoy. So
it's like the pre-holiday quarantine, though. That's no fun.
Yeah, I know. It's bad for everyone, isn't it?
Well, thank you, brother. We'll talk.
Pleasure.
Okay.
Great show tonight, John. Loving it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Stoke. Applause,
Yeah.
Applause.
Bye.
Oh, man. What did I tell you? Just so special. All right. We are nearing the end of the show. Next up is Tangled Waves. Such a interesting situation that you're about to witness. I will remind you, my dear friends, that anybody who joins the Patreon gets downloads of the performances from the whole show. You can't pass it. It's a good deal. It's awesome. Okay, I've just been so excited about this one. Oh, man. I met these two a month ago. Well, a little more. Tangled Waves is a Franco-Estonian audiovisual live performance duo formed in London, England, and currently based in Montreal. You ready? Here we go. Olivier pilots the Eurorack modular system and explores where it chooses to take them, while Katrine, inspired by the music, draws and paints digitally in real-time alien landscapes, organic textures, and mechanical constructs. They both love everything sci-fi, from quirky stuff to scientifically or philosophically intriguing themes. Also love cool international cities, especially the ones they've been lucky to perform in: London, Brighton, Tokyo, Montreal, New York. Live performance is central to their artistic practice, and they love the risk-taking it entails, as well as the uniqueness and the beauty of the experience. Apart from music and art, Katrine is an academic researcher at McGill with a PhD from the London School of Economics. Olivier, whom his friends like to call a philosopher, has specialized in diverse branches of knowledge and analysis, recently evaluating new technologies for the transport industry. Modular synthesis and live line art digital drawing have been intertwined from the start of their journey, as their name, Tangled Waves, suggests. Seatbelts time. Tangled Waves. You too, man. I just, I love what you do. Are you with us? They are with us. There you are. How you doing, guys? Hello. Tangled Waves. Hello. We're here, guys. Can you hear me?
I don't hear anything.
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Hello?
Hello.
Can you hear us?
No,
I can hear you.
Ah,
All
hello.
right.
We are muting and I'm muting you.
Thanks so
Hello,
much for
Modular
joining
Works.
us. I just love what you do, guys.
Thank you.
And thank you for everyone for your heartwarming comments. It's very, very nice.
I knew it'd be great to have you. I just knew it. All right, so Katrine, tell us about how you're getting a signal out of this thing, how you're reacting to what you're hearing. How does this work?
Yeah, so effectively, I'm pretty much not planning too much. I'm like selecting a bit of pencils I want to use. And some of them are standards. My favorite one is simplest technical pen. I also designed some of the ready-made ones with the software that I have. And yeah, then we kind of roughly discussed like the ideas that they can go in a different direction, but we try to do it really simultaneously and live, like as music comes in. Yeah.
Wow.
She has an incredible technique, right? Sometimes she creates her own brushes.
Mm-hmm.
So she's working on iPad, as you have seen, and she's using, well, it can depend, but she has taken photos of the modular, and she turns that into a brush. And she uses, so there are different layers and textures embedded. I don't understand how she does it, but it's really, really impressive.
It's amazing. And then are you watching what she's doing, Olivier? Or you're just in your own world?
No, I have only two hands, two eyes, and I'm always trying to focus and not forget something, and what is the next button and what is the next slider. But I have noticed something recently which is quite extraordinary. Sorry, I can't hear you anymore.
I'm just listening.
Oh. Okay, so I was saying that usually the way we work is that I play the music and the visuals are reacting to it. Mm-hmm. But very recently I spotted that the visual was starting to anticipate the music. So it's like, wow, how did you know I was going in that direction?
Oh, it's beautiful.
Starting to be, very entangled.
Yeah, it is. And we noticed it when we did a live streaming event, because normally we later on match it too, because when we do it in the concert, we have the music recording and we have the visual recording and we put it together. So it's actually very interesting to see.
Yeah.
It's a bit fast for me when I'm doing it, really.
So you're getting to know his style enough to be anticipating some of the moves.
Yeah. That must be, right?
Oh, that's beautiful. Wow. So, Olivier, when you're planning a patch like this, are you thinking about the connection, or you're just doing your own thing and we'll see where it goes with her?
Well, this patch was a bit special, right? It was very complicated because I wanted to do something completely, absolutely different, as usual, of course. But here I was focusing on modules I don't use enough. Mm-hmm. So I started to say, okay, I really want to use that one more. So I focused the patch on the idea of using switches this time, much more. Mm-hmm. So I have this fabulous module from, I think it's software synthesis called Octal VC switch. It's a real beauty, but it's very complicated because then I forced myself to use the switch. I used the Gjear analog switch 4. I used also the Boss bow tie. All the switches I had, I put together, and it allowed me to do something which I like to do things different, as I said. And the previous live performance we made, I was very happy with the way I used the kick of the BIA, you know, that BIA guy, the basimilus. And then I decided, no, I'm going to use the basimilus as melodic, as the voice. So actually, somebody was asking in the chat whether what was the sound of this sitar, you know, whether it was placed. Actually, it was the basimilus, which receives at some point some modulation from tides. So it does things very crazy into it. So you know, I built it on an idea. I said, I want to do something totally different. And then I start tweaking. And when I love what I hear, I say, oh, let's see if it's robust enough to be integrated in a patch.
I don't think I've ever heard BIA used like that. That's amazing that was the BIA.
There was a little secret here. I also wanted to use a recent module, which was the IIITAIII Shifty. So, you know, I said, okay, I'm never using a shift register. I'm going to do it. And so you can hear the no cost and the BIA are playing the same melody, the same sequence, but at there is a timing of difference because of the shift register, and it does this special vibe. Yeah.
I watched some of the videos on your YouTube channel where you're at places and, you know, Katrine's images are on this large screen. How are you feeling about doing it in this format versus live? I mean, obviously it's not as great, but I mean, it's pretty engaging the way that we can like overlay them over the modular images. So it's a whole different approach.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the approach, it is similar, and in terms of outcome, I have like I see like advantages of both, because doing it live, it's kind of fun because you are in the place.
And it's
there's
large.
Public, there is like very nice.
Yeah.
But at the same time, of course, like the computer screen has better quality than most projectors, so that kind of puts me in the digital approach and the streaming approach of that. So.
Yeah, that's a good point, because it's so sharp and so screen resolution versus blasting it on a wall. Yeah.
But we have to do it more, because I have found that one of the challenges we had very often is that people don't necessarily realize what's happening and how it's being produced. So, you know, for instance, people who don't know Modular, when they see somebody like they're not really behind his back watching what's happening, they can think that it's a DJ or something, right? Here it's a bit the same. People know Modular by heart, but they have rarely seen an iPad used like that. So they believe that it's a computer, that it's using, you know, the computer's PC and laptop software. And so it's very good for us to show a bit how it's done, you know, making of while it's being done.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't think there's anybody doing what you guys are doing. Not even close. Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, maybe they are, but I don't think so. What's next for you guys?
Our second album. You know, we have one album on Bandcamp which is titled Signal from Venice, you know, the sci-fi connection. And we have a second one. We have the material already, and we need to master it and be ready for the end of the year or early next year. So that's going to take a few days, yes.
And your current Bandcamp is linked underneath if people are interested. Wow. I'm so glad I met you guys. All right. Well, thank you for coming. Ladies and gentlemen, Tangled Waves. Unbelievable. Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wow. All right. We have reached the end of an amazing show and just an amazing year. I'm just so glad you all show up to this show and think it's cool. You want to play it. It's awesome. You know, just a dude sitting in his room. That's it, you know? And then it's real, you know? It's amazing. I love this community. You all know that. And just thank you very much to all the performers who played today. Super special end of year show. Awesome. I will not see you until January. And I'll tell you right now, there's some serious treats happening in 2021. All right. In 2 weeks from today, Frequency Shift, Travarsi, and Space Racer of SoCal Synth Society are coming back with Frequency Shift. I'll be producing that show for SoCal Synth. And also, so are our dear friends up in San Francisco. So that's going to be a great one. All-day event, December 19, 2 weeks from today. You'll see it all over. You guys are great. Thank you so much. Yeah, we'll see you in 2021. I'm John O'Wells. This is Modular World. Ciao.